Now, there's no doubt about it that by far one of the most anticipated Star Wars TV shows of 2023 is indeed the Ahsoka Tano TV series, not just because it's going to have Ezra, Thrawn, Sabine Wren, Era Syndulla, and even a whole lot of other characters joining the overall structure of the show, but also over the fact that it is going to have the mythology of Star Wars, the Jedi, the dark side, the cosmic force, the Force itself, and a whole lot more. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, as you all know, everything related to Kathleen Kennedy over the years has been pretty much hit or miss. I would go as far to say that Rogue One is probably her best project that she was involved in, and probably the best Star Wars project that stayed authentic and true to George Lucas's vision. Now, going back to where we are today, we have seen her impact on the Star Wars TV shows before in the past with the Book of Boba Fett, the Kenobi series, and, you know, anything beyond all of that. Now, thankfully, she's no longer in creative power over all of the existing shows in the works. Of course, only Skeleton Crew and Tales are the shows that she is currently working on as we speak. Now, everything between John, George, and Dave is that what they are doing is that they are cherry-picking from the Thrawn trilogy books, as well as other aspects of the Star Wars Legends universe from the 1990s that lead all the way up until 2013. Now, that brings us to what's been going on with, of course, Kathleen Kennedy and what she recently had to say to the fans about apologizing about something specific. Now, given that many new Star Wars creators are currently getting hired by FAVREAU and FILONI, are upcoming, of course, for new Star Wars projects. However, in a recent interview with Kathleen Kennedy, she went on to apologize to fans again over something that she did with the Star Wars universe. Kennedy went on to state the following to the fans: "It was never our intention to ruin fans' expectations with the Kenobi series that we spent so many years on developing and eventually bringing it into your home. I want to tell fans directly that I do personally apologize if we have made the wrong decisions with the most recent installment for the fan base that may have not met expectations from what Joby Harold and Deborah Chow presented to you. I want to make it publicly clear to the community that we were dealing with a very tight production schedule and had to make the series as fast as possible to get it out on time for a May 2022 release at the time." She goes on to state, "We were set on that date for a reason to match things up with the traction of past Star Wars movies releasing in May. Maybe that was one of our big mistakes, that we should have spent more time on this project." Now, let me just pause here quick for a second. You guys may recall that the Kenobi series, one of the biggest flaws of the show was the pacing. There were moments where it was meant to be more fast-paced, but it was too slow. Then there was moments where it was meant to be faster, of course, in other aspects between Vader and Kenobi, and a lot of things with Reva felt very flat, but I digress. The thing about the Kenobi show that really, I think, was the biggest flaw was how fast they really filmed this series. I remember when they started production and then ended it, I kind of like raised my eyebrow and scratched my head, and I was like, what? What's going on here? And the reason being behind all of that, as it turns out, had a lot to do with the fact that most of the show was shot in studio. And a lot of shots in this series, if you really watch it carefully, are stationary shots. You know, there's really not a ton of action as you think there is. When you think about it, everything in total, there's a lot of moments in the show where Kenobi's walking around, Leia's walking around. There's just a lot of very simple sequences in this show that allowed them to really breeze through production. Now, that's not to say that there's extremely few action scenes. I mean, it has its handful, but mostly everything was shot in studio, and they really got through this thing in like 2 months and change. You know, the main filming I'm talking about, not the preliminary stuff. So moving on to the next thing here, she goes on to say, "Alright, We here at Lucasfilm believe that Joby and Deborah are excellent creators, but that perhaps, of course, they were not fit for this project alone. Working with the Star Wars franchise has been a live and learn experience for me, and I am very sorry if I let down many fans out there that have respected this franchise from the very beginning. We originally wanted to make this series longer, and it was I who made the call to shorten the series, which may have been one of my biggest mistakes on the show. I am here to promise to fans out there that we won't let you down with what we are doing with Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte. We have some pretty amazing things coming out of this for the fans. So once again, I mean, I always say this when she does these apologies, quote unquote, that they're not really true apologies. They're kind of like a way to save her image and to also plug her upcoming projects. And she just did it again, mentioning the Acolyte, mentioning the Skeleton Crew series, which, by the way, guys, both of which I don't believe are going to be big success points in Star Wars. I just don't. I know I'm not really one to say about anything until I've seen a shred of footage, I get that. But based on all the leaks and the descriptions and the set builds and who's involved with these shows so far, it's really not looking all that promising. The Acolyte is a show that's been in limbo for so very long. Skeleton Crew is basically going to be Stranger Things in space, and when you have Kathleen Kennedy and other creators out there copying Stranger Things and slapping Star Wars on top of it, I just don't know how that's going to work. I really don't. I'm not trying to be pessimistic here or anything like that, but I'm just looking at it through a realistic view. If you're copying another franchise, I don't think it's going to come out of pure passion for Star Wars. I just don't think so. But we'll wait and see. You know, it's coming out next year. Skeleton Crew, they're trying to aim for a summer of 23 release. Right around July is when they want to get this thing out there on Disney+, as long as there's no delays or more setbacks by Kathleen Kennedy. So once again, you know, looking at where we are now, the good news is that, as we have discussed already, FAVREAU and FILONI are creating a reboot of the Kenobi series, a soft reboot, so to speak. And it's basically going to be taking a lot of the original storyboards from the Kenobi trilogy, finalizing those and putting those into the script, and exactly how they can really be able to craft a new story and really start fresh and new. So that's one thing, alright? Now, a lot of other things coming into the equation here by Kathleen Kennedy is that we've talked about this, is trying to create her own new production company. And she's trying to leave Lucasfilm before Disney gets to her and fires her first. We talked about that too a couple of weeks ago. And that's still happening. She is actively involved in making her own production company. It's currently dubbed simply as Starlight Productions. It's going to be focused on science fiction. She's going to be taking some Lucasfilm employees that are loyal to her, hiring them, and bringing out some new content. So anyways, you know, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, because it is a very interesting situation, and it really is something that a lot of fans, I would, you know, hope to see, you know, are talking about when it comes to whether or not they are looking forward to Skeleton Crew or Acolyte or not. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.